Now, here on France 24, we're going to have a look at the French newspapers. Florence Villeneuve with us here on set. Left-leaning Libération focusing on a secret nuclear deal between France and China.
That's right. It's on the cover today. A state secret between France and China there on Libération. Now, back in October, a deal was made behind closed doors between Beijing and two companies that the French government has high stakes in. So, on the one hand, the nuclear giant Areva and the French utilities company Électricité de France, EDF. That contract was never made public, and on top of that, a unionist who was working for Areva was attacked in mysterious circumstances while she was trying to get a copy on this contract. Now, according to the deal, EDF and Areva will co-develop a new Chinese reactor with China's electricity company. And in their editorial, Libération was really upset about this and says that it's a pity that France's nuclear industry is so secretive, whether it's on the left or on the right, and says that it's especially hypocritical of the socialist government to be so secretive about their nuclear industry because they have a coalition with the Green Party, which is anti-nuclear. And so instead of being transparent, the government is lacking transparency and withholding information. And now, on top of this, Libération points out that this deal raises serious democratic questions because, according to Libération, French people deserve to know, have a right to know, just what technology France is selling to China and whether China will respect France's very strict safety regulations.
Okay, interesting stuff. Good to have some different stories in the papers. Florence has found another one for us now. Le Monde taking a closer look at a story that's been getting quite a bit of attention here, in fact. It's the plight of Afghan nationals who helped French soldiers during military operations in Afghanistan.
That's right. As France is withdrawing its final troops from Afghanistan, there's the sensitive question of what's going to happen to the Afghans that helped them while they were there. So whether they were cooks or people who did the cleaning or even people who interpreted for French soldiers. Now, all of them are going to get financial compensation, according to Le Monde. But in some cases, their security, their safety has been compromised because they helped the French. And in those cases, some of them will be granted asylum here in France. And especially, that's the case for interpreters. Now, this is a very touchy subject here in France, and it's taken a lot of time for this to get unblocked. And it was François Hollande, the president himself, who took a very strong stance on this, went against what his government was recommending, and said that the number of people that would be granted asylum in France would actually be larger than it was initially reported. So it turns out that it'll be between 160 and 170 people. Now, they'll get visas, working papers, accommodation, social security, and the first ones will arrive mid-January.
Okay. Now, we've also got unemployment figures out here in France today. You pulled out a piece from Le Parisien, haven't you, taking a closer look at those who don't appear in the official statistics.
That's right. Le Parisien says there are hundreds and thousands of them, and it calls them these chômeurs invisibles, the invisible unemployed. So they're people who either haven't signed up on the official unemployment lists or who have been removed from the list, and so they don't appear in official figures. Now, officially, there are 5 million unemployed people in France. Now, if you add these, what they call these ghost unemployed, and people who work part-time, who wish to work full-time, the actual unemployment figure is closer to 9 million. So Le Parisien looks in detail. Who are these people? It's mainly women and young people. And according to Le Parisien, they've also interviewed this man, a 59-year-old man, who says that he's no longer on the list and he says, I feel like I no longer exist. So Le Parisien says that this is a terrible situation that really affects people's self-esteem.
And you're staying with the Parisien for another unemployment story. This time it's in the US, but it's a little bit unusual.
It's unusual. She was fired because she was too sexy. This is in the Parisien today. This last week, the Supreme Court in Iowa ruled that it may not be fair, but it's not unlawful to fire an irresistible worker. Now, the irresistible worker in question is Melissa Nelson. She worked as a dental assistant for 10 years for a certain James Knight. He fired her in 1999 because he said that she was too attractive and she was a threat to his marriage. In fact, at one point, he even told her if she saw his pants bulging, she would know her clothes was too revealing.
Oh my
now,
goodness.
she says she was fired because of her gender. This has sparked outrage among gender groups. Le Parisien points out, however, that the court that made this ruling only has men on the court.
Okay, incredible story, Florence. I shall make no comment just in case. Thanks very much. That's Florence with the French Press Review.